The man who built the dark web's biggest empire.
October 1st, 2013. Inside a public library in San Francisco, a young man sat quietly behind a laptop.
Around him, students studied for exams. Librarians pushed carts between bookshelves. People walked by without giving him a second glance. To everyone in the room, he looked completely ordinary, but hidden among the visitors were federal agents. For more than 2 years, the FBI, the DEA, the IRS, and Homeland Security had been hunting him. They knew exactly who he was. They knew exactly where he was. What they needed now was proof. And that proof was sitting on the laptop in front of him. There was only one problem. If he closed it, years of evidence could disappear forever. So they waited. Then suddenly a loud argument broke out nearby. The young man looked up. Just for a second. That was all it took. An agent rushed forward and grabbed the laptop before it could be shut. Another tackled the suspect to the ground. Within moments, it was over. The screen remained unlocked. The account remained logged in. And staring back at investigators was the identity they had spent years chasing. Dread Pirate Roberts, the mysterious founder of Silk Road, the king of the dark web, the man behind one of the most infamous websites in internet history. But what shocked investigators wasn't what they found. It was who they found. Because the mastermind behind this billion-dollar underground empire wasn't a cartel boss. He wasn't a hardened criminal. He wasn't even someone who looked dangerous. His name was Ross Ulbricht, a former Eagle Scout, a physics graduate, a quiet young man who enjoyed reading books and discussing philosophy. The kind of person you'd never expect to become one of the most wanted men on the internet. And that's exactly what makes this story so fascinating. Because Ross Ulbricht didn't start out trying to build a criminal empire. He believed he was building a revolution. And for a while, it looked like he was succeeding. Long before federal agents surrounded him in that library, Ross Ulbricht was struggling to find direction. By most standards, he should have been successful. He was intelligent, disciplined, and highly educated. But after college, he found himself drifting between failed business ideas and uncertain career paths. While friends moved into stable jobs, Ross searched for something bigger, something meaningful. During this period, he became obsessed with a question. What if technology could create a world beyond government control? The internet was changing everything. It ignored borders. It connected strangers across continents. And Ross began to wonder if commerce could work the same way. Around the same time, 2 technologies were quietly emerging. The first was Tor, a network designed to hide a user's identity online. The second was Bitcoin, a digital currency that operated without banks. Separately, they seemed insignificant. Together, they created something entirely new. Anonymous communication, anonymous money. For Ross, it was the missing piece of the puzzle. A marketplace where anyone could buy or sell anything. No banks, no gatekeepers, no authorities. Just people exchanging goods freely. It was a radical idea. Most people would have debated it online. Ross decided to build it. In 2010, he began working in secret, night after night, hour after hour, writing code, fixing bugs, testing systems, building what he believed would change the world. He called it Silk Road, named after the ancient trade routes that connected civilizations for centuries. Ross imagined a digital version of that network, a marketplace connected not by roads and ships, but by code and anonymity. When Silk Road launched in early 2011, almost nobody noticed. It was hidden deep within the dark web. No media coverage, no investors, no publicity. Just an empty website waiting for users. But Ross quickly faced a problem. Nobody trusts an anonymous marketplace, especially one selling illegal products. So according to investigators, Ross became one of the site's first vendors himself. He needed proof the system worked, and surprisingly, it did. A few transactions became dozens. Dozens became hundreds. Slowly, a community formed around the site. Many early users didn't see themselves as criminals. They saw themselves as pioneers, people interested in privacy, cryptocurrency, and freedom from traditional institutions. For a brief moment, Silk Road felt less like a black market and more like an experiment. But experiments have a habit of evolving, and soon the marketplace grew far beyond what Ross had imagined. Cannabis appeared, then psychedelics, then cocaine, then countless other illegal products. Every month, the site became larger. Every month, more money flowed through the platform. And then everything changed. In June 2011, a major online publication called Gawker published an article about a mysterious website hidden on the dark web. Overnight, Silk Road exploded. Thousands of new users flooded the platform. Vendors arrived from around the world. Orders multiplied. Bitcoin transactions surged. What had started as a niche experiment was becoming a global underground empire. Packages crossed borders daily. Millions of dollars flowed through anonymous transactions. And with every sale, Ross collected a commission. For the first time in his life, he had found success. But while users were discovering Silk Road, law enforcement was discovering it too. Federal agencies began opening investigations. Task forces were assembled. Resources were allocated. And a hunt quietly began. Ross didn't know it yet. But from that moment forward, he was racing against the clock. Before Silk Road became famous, someone using the username Altoid promoted the website on internet forums. Most people ignored it. One investigator didn't. IRS investigator Gary Alford followed the trail. Forum posts led to usernames. Usernames led to conversations. Conversations led to an email address. And that email address belonged to Ross Ulbricht. One forgotten digital footprint. That was all it took. Suddenly, the ghost had a face. Surveillance intensified. Evidence accumulated. The only thing left was proving Ross was Dread Pirate Roberts. And to do that, investigators needed to catch him in the act. Which brings us back to October 1st, 2013. Back to the library, back to the laptop. Federal agents knew this was their chance. If Ross closed the computer, the evidence could vanish. So they created a distraction. Ross looked away. Agents moved in. The laptop stayed open. And years of secrecy collapsed in seconds. Investigators found administrator panels, private messages, records connecting Ross directly to Dread Pirate Roberts. The mystery was over. The king of the dark web had fallen. In 2015, Ross Ulbricht was convicted on charges including narcotics trafficking, money laundering, and criminal enterprise. His sentence shocked the world. 2 life sentences, plus 40 years. No possibility of parole. To some, it was justice. To others, it was excessive. And even today, the debate continues. Was Ross Ulbricht a dangerous criminal, a misguided idealist, a symbol of digital freedom, or simply a man who lost control of his own creation? Because Silk Road was never just a website. It became a glimpse into the future. A future of cryptocurrency, online anonymity, decentralized system, ideas that seemed impossible when Ross first started writing code in a small room. Today, Silk Road is gone. Its servers are gone. Its marketplace is gone. But the ideas behind it survived, and perhaps that's the strangest part of the story. Ross Ulbricht set out to build a marketplace. Instead, he became a symbol. To some, a warning. To others, a martyr. But maybe the truth lies somewhere in between. Maybe he was simply a brilliant, flawed human being who became convinced he could change the world. And for a brief moment, he actually did. The question is whether history will remember him for the revolution he started, or the price he paid for it.